Hello, everyone. Oh, good. Looks like there's folks coming in. Um, Never sure before I hit the go button how many people are going to be out there waiting, but it's great to see people coming in. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to wait a moment or two till people come online because I know that sometimes it takes a few minutes to click the link and get things set up. So um, we'll hold off on that for the moment. Yeah, oh gosh, lots of folks. Yeah, just to say that I'll definitely take questions, but if you could put them into the Q&A or the chat area, that would be useful because everyone else is muted on this call except for me. So yeah. Yeah, and I'll keep an eye on those areas throughout the webinar. Um, so let's see. Yeah, get those up. Right. And I'm just getting those up for myself. Oh, thanks. Yes, Bob's nice to see you live and in person too, after all our emails back and forth at the moment. Oh yes, it's good to have you there. Okay, so what I am going to, let's see, let me just bring these things down. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and go through the presentation that I have. So happy to take questions as we go along. What I'm going to focus on is our genealogy courses that are available if you want to take things further or find a bit more to do at the moment when so many of us are having to spend a lot more time at home. And also when many of the archives around the world are closed and we're not able to get into those as easily. Yes, thanks. Hi, Lucy. So genealogical chart I can fill in for a couple getting married. Are you looking for a blank chart? Sorry, Lucy, I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. Yeah, if you give me a bit more detail, then I'll try to answer that question for you. So, okay. So let's get my screen shared here. Okay, so get on to actually going onto my slideshow. There we go. All right, so yeah, so as I said, I am going to talk about taking our genealogical studies further and then things that you can do from home at the moment while things are a bit more different than they are normally, whatever normal is these days. So just generally, I'm going to talk about what's available from the University of Strathclyde, looking at our 8-week classes, then looking at the postgraduate course, and then I will also talk about some non-genealogy online courses that the Center for Lifelong Learning, which I'm based in, is offering. This is due to all of our on-campus courses not being available at the moment because of COVID. And then look at other online providers, lots of providers out there that offer things. And then I'll talk about other MOOCs that I've found through FutureLearn, and also at the end, look at non-study things to do that you might find interesting and useful. So, okay, so at the university, we offer a number of different pathways for furthering your genealogy education. So these 8-week online classes, which are normally campus-based as well, those are at the beginner and intermediate level. And then we also have a master's degree, which is offered all online. And that program's been online for the last, 12, 13 years. So it's not something that we've suddenly pivoted to online, as many courses around the world are having to do that. It's an old online course, so set up for people to do it online. Okay, so looking at our 8-week courses, these start at 3 times during the year. So the next start date that you have is the 11th of January. So if you're looking for something to do in the new year, these might be of interest to you. Quite a few of them do have a Scottish focus because they've grown up out of our on-campus courses, but these also cover UK-wide sources, but there's no doubt that it's a British focus on these. But the general skills would be of interest to anybody around the world. You can take these classes for credit or not. That is up to you. They're taught at a first-year undergraduate level, and you receive 10 credits for each of the classes. To receive credit, you have to actually do the assignment and pass the assignment, but most people, that doesn't seem to be a problem. So a number of topics, the intro, using technology beyond the basics. So those are kind of our 3 core courses. And the intro class, while it is an introduction, because it's taught at an undergraduate level, it's fairly in depth, and we cover birth, marriage, and death, and church records, military, and then actually how to do the research as well, referencing and that kind of thing. And I've had people on that class do it who've been researching for years and tell me, oh, I didn't think I was going to get anything out of that class, but I did. I'm really glad I took it. So, even if you don't think that you're a beginner, you might still find that useful. And then we have 2 genealogy classes that we offer. And those may very well be of interest to you as well. So there's an introduction to genetic genealogy, which covers the Y autosomal and MT, and then the understanding autosomal also just focuses on autosomal testing. So no, Bob, this is not a free course. Unfortunately, we do have to charge for these. They're not part of the modular masters either. There's something separate. You don't have to have any, you don't have to fulfill any entry requirements, but it is useful if you are familiar with using the internet. And I would say that most people who are doing the FutureLearn course would be fine on these courses. As you can see, £176 per 8-week course. If you are interested in doing the master's degree, but you're perhaps not really sure how you would get along with doing online learning for credit, you might think about taking one of these just to find out. And they can be a good grounding for the masters as well. So yeah, there's a lot more information online about these. And yeah, so yeah, useful. So let's see, Di's asking about how many hours per week for the 8-week course. It depends. That's a terrible answer, but they're not classes that are, I suppose, tied to a particular time during the day. What happens is on the much like the FutureLearn course, at the beginning of each week, the materials are made available, and you can access those at any point that you want. I would say if you're wanting to take them for credit, so if you're wanting to do the assignments, probably about 8 to 10 hours a week, roughly. So yeah, and if you're not wanting to do it for credit, then really it's just as much time as you want to spend. So Cliff, will I be sharing? No, I'll put the slides up as a download after the the chat. So yeah, don't take copious notes. Bob, no, the credits don't apply towards the masters. They're totally separate. Yeah. So as with most of the courses that we do, these courses have reasonably extensive reading lists, so which are optional. So you can really spend as much or as little time as you like with these. But I would say to get a good amount out of it, probably 8 to 10 hours a week would be pretty good. So. Having said that, they are the kind of thing where you log on and just download the information. I think all of these classes also offer an optional real-time chat session, at least one. But again, those are optional and they're recorded, so you can watch them afterwards. So, okay. So that's 8-week courses. Yeah, they're great. The people who teach on them, Marie and Allie and Graham, really know their stuff. So good people. So moving on to the postgraduate program. So this, as it says, provides a thorough grounding in the theory and practice of genealogical research. It is British-based, this program. So while we do, particularly as you go along in the course beyond the first 60 credits and into the second 60 credits, we reach out into other areas of the world. It really is, we try to give a strong balance between Scottish and English research. We also get into Wales and Ireland, but yeah, it is British based. Really, our goal with this is to get people out the other end with kind of a breadth and a depth of information and skill and experience in looking for knowing how to deal with and then communicating the results of research to a client, to your family, for yourself. We're trying to get people out the other end at kind of a professional level of genealogical research and communication of results. Now, that's not to say that like I suppose like most master's degrees, you learn a whole lot, but you you haven't learned everything that you need to know in order to become, to, I suppose, be an expert or be a total professional. You still will need to learn more, do on the job, although many genealogists work for themselves, but on the job training. I always think, when I came out of library school with my master's in library science, oh, great, I'm all ready to become a librarian. And I did start as a librarian, but there was still so much to learn. Any rate, I'm digressing. But yeah, so our goal is to get people out the other end ready to start professional practice. If you're not interested in practicing professionally as a genealogist, that's fine. I would say maybe 3/4 of our students are interested in that, and the other quarter want to learn more for their own personal interest, and that's great. Yes, so we have lots of things in the course on referencing, ethics, communicating with clients. Yeah, it's just a wide range of topics that we cover. So yeah, so it's broken into three steps. So the certificate, which is the first 60 credits, that's really focused on the UK records and research, so the Scottish and English, with a lot of skills, just general skills background in that level as well. Then the next 60 credits goes into what's called the Postgraduate Diploma. So if you finish that total 120 credits between the cert and the diploma, you'll receive the Postgraduate Diploma. There's a lot of student choice at this level. So some of the assessments, you can choose an area of the world that you want to focus on. Clients that you work with, you can choose them, and then there's a 5,000 word research project that you choose the topic on that as well. So, and then the dissertation step, which is the next 60 credits, making up the full 180 credits for the full master's, the topic is chosen by the student. And there's just a range of different topics that students choose. It's pretty incredible, actually, how many different things students go into, from looking at records of, let's see, one of my, was it insurance company based in England from the late 1700s, and she looked at their records of people who'd applied for policies. This was one of the first companies that was doing this, and there was so much information, genealogical information on these records. So she was assessing those records for use by genealogists, looking at the individuals who were being mentioned, and I don't know, it was a fascinating topic. So it's the academic research that students do on the course is more than just looking at someone's family and tracing their family. You're asked to come up with a question to answer, which is, yeah, anyway, you receive a lot of help with that. So Pauline, you're asking, is Chris on the postgraduate course? No, she did the introduction to family history research. So one of the 8-week beginner courses, that's where I met her. And then she has since gone through, I think, probably all of the 8-week courses that we offer. So yeah, but she's an amazing researcher. It's really great. I'd be happy to have her on the postgraduate course, but I think she probably has lots of other things she wants to do, including keeping up with her own research. Alan, you're asking about where the credits go towards. I'm assuming that's probably for the 8-week courses. So if you take 30, if you gain 30 credits on those 8-week courses, then you receive what's called an Open Studies certificate in genealogy. And that's a way of recognizing that you've taken that amount of credit. So yeah, that's what the credits can go towards. Anna, does the MSc program require travel to Glasgow? No, it's entirely online, so no travel to Glasgow is required. Mick, are the academic research dissertations published online for reference? No, well, if you are a student, a master's student on our courses, then we do have some of them available for reference to those, but the university publishes openly online only PhD theses, not master's level dissertations. So, and that's just what happens. Though I have to say, a number of our students have gone on and written papers, which have been published in journals based on their dissertations. So if you're interested, you might have a look at, there's the Register of Qualified Genealogists, and they have a journal that's free to access. And I know that, a number of things are in that. Let me just I'll type in that. Genealogist. I'm blanking. Whoops. Just journal. I can't remember the exact name of that journal. But if you do a search on that, then you'll come up with that journal. So that's a good place to find some of those. But yeah. So the program can be done in quite a few ways. So you can take it full time, and that's taken over 18 months, and that program starts in September every year. That one you can get student finance for. You can also do it part-time, which is taken over 3 years, and that also starts in October. In the year, that course is also available for student finance from, and I'm talking UK student finance here. The 4 different countries in the United Kingdom that all have their different student finance areas. And then the other version that we offer is a modular version. On all of these, the material and the assessments that you're required to do are the same. It's just the amount of time per week varies, because some of them take less time, and others you work on it at a longer time period. So the modular version is probably the most flexible, and that takes the least time per week. Probably around 14 hours a week for the modular version. And that starts 3 times a year, October, January, and April. So there's an FAQ on our website that I really need to update for the coming year, but that'll give you some more information on those. So yeah. yeah, as I said, it's entirely online. You don't need to come to Glasgow, although we do try when it's possible to have a on-campus, face-to-face student kind of visit every year. We weren't able to do that this year, and so last week we had a 2-day virtual student event where we had lots of presenters from around the world actually come and talk to the students and informal chat sessions. So that was good fun. But I'm really hoping next year we can go back to the optional on-campus student visit. So it's a mixture of written lectures, multimedia presentations. So it's a different um, online sort of environment than you'd be used to from FutureLearn, but it works pretty much the same. There's forums that you can contact other students with and so on and so forth. We also offer uh, chat sessions, and most of those are optional unless you're on the full-time session. And apologies if you're starting to hear another voice. My husband's just popped on a work meeting, so hopefully we won't. You won't hear him too much. Um, yeah, you're assigned a tutor, and that tutor gives you feedback and support. Almost all of our tutors have been through the program themselves. So, we know the challenges and the issues that come up. So, yes, Bob, definitely working from home. We don't have students do any exams. It's all, as you're going through doing research, it's practical in nature, the assessments. Except for the academic research projects, which I suppose you could argue in some ways those are practical in nature because you're having to do the research and write up. So, but yeah, let's see so here's just a screenshot of this is actually from the diploma level course. So it's basically you just click on the links, you download the written lectures, which we've also recorded, so you can listen to them if you want to. Actually, I find a lot of students are finding that helpful because it kind of slows them down. So anyway, we're trying to hit all learning styles, and also for people who may have challenges with their eyesight, then the audio helps. For a number of the things, we've created what are called multimedia presentations, and quite a few of these have been created by experts in their area. And this is the case with the Irish house history. Chris Payton's an amazing researcher, a lecturer in Irish and Scottish work. So he created this sort of half an hour case study for us, which is really quite fun. So. And then for each of these, there's a smaller assignment that you do, yeah. So anyway, it's all based around getting you to yeah, just get familiar with the records and do the research. So. Coming in, we typically require a degree, and this is particularly true of the full-time course, just because that one hits the ground so quick, and it's pretty yeah, it's pretty full on, the full time. But for the part time and the modular, I'm very happy to look at what are non-standard educational or professional qualifications. So, if you've got training through work, if you've done perhaps some of the 8-week courses that we offer, or indeed some online courses or courses from other genealogy education providers, and I'll talk about a few of those in a minute, then I certainly would consider those. Basically, what I'm wanting to know is will you be happy and comfortable working at the level that we're wanting you to work at, and also you can turn work in on time and those kinds of things. So. So if you don't have a degree and you're concerned about this, email me, and happy to work things through. So also looking for some experience in genealogical research. You don't have to have been doing research for hundreds of years. Have you been working with your own family research? it's just, have you used more than just say census records? I want to know that you've dipped your toe in, and this is what you're passionate about. Fees are on the website. They change every year. There's no doubt this course is expensive. I think the full-time course this year was just over £9,000 for the full 180 credits. So modular ones you pay per module. So it's oh, cheers, Bob. Bob's saying 9,610, and that's this year. Modular you pay per module, so it's a bit easier to take off. So anyway, but you can find them on the website. Any questions about that, let me know. So okay, whoops, sorry, moving on too quick. So other people do offer courses, and there's some excellent providers out there that offer things that we don't, and indeed offer some things that, same type of thing that we do, but the timing might not be right for our courses, etc. So Pharos tutors are wonderful. They do a range of courses. Some of these you can do for assessment as well, which is, I think, always useful. Kind of helps focus your mind if you're doing the assessments. I've just given a couple of examples here, but they have a wide range of courses available, and they start at different times throughout the year. So National Genealogical Society, that's based in the United States, and they offer courses to members. Some are free, as I say, some are paid for. The other one that I wanted to mention as well is the Society of Genealogists. Just type that in here. And they are now offering online courses and talks. I think it's www.sog.org, but it might be .org.uk. Anyway, have a look at that. They before COVID hit, most of their stuff was down in London, based down in London, which is where their center is. But of course, they've switched, like many things have, and things are now online. Anyway, excellent courses and talks from them. And then the other one I wanted to just mention is the National Institute of Genealogical Studies. This is based in Canada, and they have a massively wide range of courses available. As I've said, beginner to advanced. They're just the range of courses is a bit mind-boggling. So, but yeah, they're good people who work there. But there are others. You can just, I would say, do a web search for online genealogy courses, and things will pop up. So but with these, I either have taken courses myself through these, or I know the people who own them, and people who are tutors on them. So, and I think they're quite good. But let's see. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about FutureLearn courses that I was seeing that you might be interested in. There's a Scottish Highlands Clans one that looks quite good. And the University of Strathclyde did a number of courses a couple of years ago that are under kind of this title, Working Lives. I have a little tiny part in those, but there's one focused around railways, one focused on coal mines, and then one for textile workers. And so many of us have our ancestors working in one of these areas, no matter, well, where you are in the world, really, that they give kind of the history of these occupations, and just more information. So well worth seeing when those are running. I'm not sure when they're running. The learning from the past as well is one that I thought was quite good. But I had a look at the history subject area on FutureLearn, and oh gosh, I think there might be 30 to 40 courses listed there. There's some that are archaeology, but all of them look wonderful. So and as with I think most FutureLearn courses, they're all free while they're going, although you may need to pay, well, you probably will need to pay for access to keep access on them. So, but definitely worthwhile. I also want to talk about things that you can do from home. So yes, while we are not quite so able to go out and do things, lots of places are happy to have volunteers, um, able and ready to index and transcribe records on in week 1 of the course that you all are on. In step 1.14, I provided a list of some places to transcribe or index. So you might go back and have a look at that. But the Society of Genealogists is interested in getting volunteers. The third one down on the list, this Zooniverse.org. I was just having another look at that, and there's some really cool projects on here. But it looks like, I hesitate to say hundreds, but probably at least 100 projects. There are science and nature-based ones, also history-based projects, and really cool stuff. So, I think whatever your main area of interest, you'll probably find a project on there to get involved with. Yeah, and it's a great thing to do, to give back to the history, genealogy, and beyond community. So you might also think about doing oral history with family, that, whilst we're all finding things to do. And, you can do this via online chats, phone. You can try recording these chats. But this Family Tree magazine has an article on what to do when interviewing a grandparent, with some interesting questions that they suggest. So, Bob. Yes, Zoom interviews with elders in the family. That's great. What I'm not clear about is with personal Zoom accounts. Can you record those? I've just been using the one offered through the university, where obviously you can record. But that, not sure. Because certainly with the ones that I've been involved with the university, I get both an audio transcript, which I have to say contains some real howlers, but also provides the but at any rate, if it does, then I would say record, definitely. And then digitize your family photos. This is something that I continually personally mean to get around to, and chip away at very slowly. But Family Search has some good steps when you're thinking about digitizing your family photos, because there's some things you should think about first before plunging in and starting to digitize, such as thinking about the type of image that you want to output to. So, the size of JPEG, TIFF, etc. And thinking about how to keep the information that you know about the image with the actual image. So, like names and things like that. Anyway, some good advice there on Family Search about digitizing family photos. Yes, metadata. Thanks, Bob. Yes, I was trying not to get too jargony, but you're quite right. The metadata. Clary, you've been transcribing. Yeah, familysearch.org. Yes, they are amazing. And on step 1, the step 1.14, I'm pretty sure that's one of those that I suggested folks try for transcribing. But just so many. Ancestries looking for volunteers, by like the National Archives here in the United Kingdom, but also the National Archives in the States, look for volunteers. So there's just, the Family Search, I have to say, I did a bit of transcribing for them a couple of summers ago, and the setup that they have is really professional, really slick, works very well. So it's a particularly good project in those terms to get involved with. So. Okay, I think actually that might be pretty much everything I had to tell you. So there's my information if you want to email me. On the website, as I've said, there's lots more information about everything up there. Frequently asked questions, timetables, and so on and so forth. I am going to try to find time in the next month or so to update the timetables and FAQs for the next academic years, which is 2021-22. But even with the older timetables, you'll get a very good sense of the topics that we cover on the courses, but also how much time basically you have to work on the course. So yeah, and again, if after you look at those and you have questions, please just shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer questions. And if I don't know the answer, like there's a lot of things around student finance that I'm not the best person to answer those questions. With the student finance bodies, I would say first and foremost, but those certainly easier to answer from those. Let's see. Went over my history book for Thanksgiving. How do I find the name of the ship my grandfather came on? What time period did your grandfather come on, and what countries are we talking about? K51. Oh, yeah, you're very welcome, Pauline. Yeah, it's fun to get everybody's just information and feedback on the course forums as we go along. I always learn so much from people myself, and information that people have. So let me just write down this. 1922. Where were they going? Was it into the States? Into Canada? Australia? So many places people could be going. UK? Right. All right, let me stop sharing my screen here. I'll come back to you guys. And there we go. Give it a wait. Right, Anna's asking, yes, the recorded Zoom session will be available. I'm hoping that I will get immediately the link for the recording, which I can, but what I have to do is I have to then send it on to the university's IT folks, who then put it up onto the YouTube site, which I don't have access to. So it's all about waiting for them to be able to do that. I think one of the issues with it taking so long to get the session on the 30th of October up, I suspect that they were having problems accessing the YouTube account, but I think that's all sorted now. So I'm hoping it will be much quicker, that turnaround for the link for the Zoom to be up there. So, but yeah, I'll get that off to them, push them to do it quicker than Cape Verde to Portugal. Oh gosh, I don't know. Cape Verde. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I'll need to do a bit of research and see if I can find that out. Yeah, the ships list is a great source for immigrant ship records. There is another really good source as well that I think I'm going to need to put the URL up for on the forum. It's different from the ships list. Oh gosh, what is it called? But they have thousands of transcribed ship records. Maybe not so much for that time period, though. 1922 is quite late. But Bob, what is the next 8-week course about again? So there are, I think, 5 of them starting in January. So you'll have an intro one, which is kind of an introduction to Scottish records, but also English records, but Irish as well. Then there's a using technology course, which looks at using family tree software, and then the Beyond the Basics goes beyond the basics, but for Scottish and English in particular. So looking at inheritance records, land records. Again, a bit more military. And then there's 2 genetic genealogy courses that are offered as well in the 8-week program. One that's just about autosomal, and then the other one looks at autosomal Y and MT. So a bit broader. It's kind of an intro to everything. Way to research siblings to a particular couple other than census records. You know, one of the Tessa, no, they don't. You can do them in any order you want to. So there's on Family Search, there is a way that you can type in the father and mother's name, and the search will look at children that were born to them and pull them up. It's not 100%. It doesn't necessarily catch all of the children, but yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, the other thing you have to do is you can potentially do is just look at yeah, people in the particular area through the birth indexes, which can take a real trawl, and sometimes you just miss people. Yeah, that's a challenging thing to do. The 1911 census, if you're lucky enough to get people on the 1911 census, that one tells you how many children a married couple had and how many are still alive. So that can give you a sense of, if there are children not on that census record that you need to go off and have a look for. So, Alan, no, you just have to do 3 of them. So every 8-week course has 10 credits. So, yeah. And multiple. Actually, Anne, I've got that one saved to answer on the next the next chat session. So I'm going to save that one for that chat session. So I've got Graham thinking about the answer for that too. So I'm going to pause on that. Right. So any other questions on the courses or doing more educational stuff? If not, I will close this out and go take a wee break, and then see you all back for the next session at 4:10. So great. Yep, you're very welcome. Yeah, thanks so much for being on the call with me. Now, see if there's anyone else. Great. Yep. Great. Excellent. You're all very welcome. What got me into genealogy? One of my great aunts handed down a family tree to me and through my mom. They died before I was born, but it had all sorts. I was always interested in history as a child, and so I got that, and that really piqued my interest. So one of the things I've been chipping away at is trying to verify all the information on that family tree. And I'm okay back to when the family came from England to the West Indies and then to the States. Well, it wasn't the States at the time, it was the colonies. But before that, I think a lot of it's fiction. It's one of these family trees that goes back to, William the Conqueror, which, I'm sure is rubbish. But, it's what you do. So, yeah. Right. Well, everybody take care. Go have a break, stand up, and yeah, I'll see you back in the next one. So great. Oh, you're very welcome. Right. Okay. I see how I get out of this.